Welcome to When Mothers Lead, a podcast created by Motherful, a soulful grassroots collective of single mothers. I'm Heidi.
And I'm Lisa.
And we will discuss how you can be a part of this movement and what the world will look like when mothers lead.
I see the mothers marching. I hear the mothers singing. I feel the mothers grieving. I see the mothers leading. I hear the mothers shouting. I see the mothers dancing. I feel the mothers healing. I see the mothers leading. I see the mothers leading.
Welcome, everyone, to When Mothers Lead. My name is Heidi Howes.
And I'm Lisa Woodward.
And today we are talking with our beautiful friend, Martina Necklace Merida, who is a powerful, powerful mother. And she is also the vice president of the board of directors for Motherful. She's also a longtime member of our collective, probably 4 or 5 years. I think from the very beginning. From the beginning. And Martina is also a member of the Yankton Sioux tribe. She is a beautiful caregiver in this world, a care provider for the Department of Developmental Disabilities. Professionally, that's what she does. And she's also a care provider in her home for her mother. And of course, I'm sure many others in her family and extended family. So welcome, Martina. And thank you for coming.
Yay, thank you for having me.
We love you so much, and we're so grateful that you are with us in the Motherful journey. And also, in so many ways, you've been, you're a mom, you're a member of the collective, you're a leader in our organization, you're an innovator, you've made chef. Yes, right. You're an entrepreneur. You have a catering business that I forgot to mention called Kitchen Therapy.
Yep.
Right?
Apple butter maker.
Yes. She's taken our apples and made apple butter, brought them back to the pantry, among other things. And we just want to uplift you today and love on you and hear from you about your life and your journey, especially your single mom journey and how you've survived, how you've done it, how you've created a thriving for your family, for your son and your mom, and, talk a little bit, hopefully, about the Dakota tradition of matriarchal society, if you want to talk about that at all. But just tell us anything you want to share with us today about what's exciting for you right now in your life, and maybe share some of your single mom journey.
Yeah, sure. So I have one son. His name's Antonio, and he is 18 years old. And right now he's in a transition period in his life in between, graduating and what he wants to do. And he already knows what he wants to do, but because of COVID, he hasn't really had that work experience. So he has to get that done first and then realize where he wants to go in his career. So I'm kind of waiting, just letting him do his own thing for right now. And then for myself, it was almost like an empty nest feeling for a second, because it was like, oh, I'm going away and then I'm going to stay and I'm going away and I'm going to stay again. And then, so I've just been my whole thing lately has been self-care on myself. What do I want to do? What do I like to do? Because I feel like when you're a mom, you don't really put yourself first a lot. And so you always want to do what the kids want to do. And you're always planning things oh, this will be fun for the kids. Let's do this. And I'm like, what do I like to do? So I've been hiking a lot and doing a lot of things like that. Yeah. Investing in myself, shall I say.
I seen you at the beach.
Yeah. We took a vacation, and that was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed ourselves down there. We went to Clearwater, Florida. So it wasn't too hot, but it was during hurricane season. So all the locals there were like in hoodies, and it was like in the 70s, almost 80s. And we're like, this is perfect weather. But yeah. So I grew up in South Dakota. I have, my mom and dad have been married pretty much all through their whole lives. My whole lifetime, they were together until my father passed away. And then my mom moved in with me. But we were heavily engulfed in our Native American culture. So we, grew up singing, dancing, traveling, and doing and then we got into doing some shows, and that actually brought us to visit France, Norway, Germany, and Spain, and a little part of Sweden. So we were doing educational things during, I think between I was 12 and 14 during the summertime. So that was like a real awesome experience for me and my brothers and some of our cousins that came along with us as well. So, but yeah, so I grew up, very into that part. And then when I was going into my junior year in high school, my family relocated to Ohio, which was a huge culture shock for me because I was all around. Only the majority of the population that was in Vermillion, South Dakota, where I grew up at, was Native and Caucasian. And so when I came here, it was like, oh my gosh, look at all these different people. This is so cool. And I was just like, wow, I want to learn everything about everything. And it's so not the stereotypical of what you're exposed to on TV. And so it was a great learning adventure. And then I met my son's dad, and we fell completely in love for each other. It was so crazy, and ended up getting married. And then we had our son, Antonio, and everything was perfectly fine. Fast forward, we gave him a great life, all that stuff. And then when Antonio was 15, his father was deported, unfortunately, to a different country. And we ended it there. It was just impossible. We'd never even planned for anything like that to happen. Because we were told that year that he was going to be getting full citizenship, but things had fallen apart, and all of a sudden that's where I became a single mother. And I believe it just so happened, like the stars aligned, that I remembered Heidi had told me about starting Motherful. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to join this because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was never exposed to single motherhood. And so in my mind, even before I became a full single mother, me and my ex-husband had some issues. And I was always like, I need to do everything in my power to keep him in my son's life, because in my head, you need two parents, you need this. And reality is, you don't, especially, if it's something that's not happening organically, you shouldn't force it. I say that now. But in my case, I tried to force it, and it didn't. And in turn, my son was it didn't work. I don't know how to say that. It didn't work out for him in that case. Mm-hmm. But other than that, so I started coming around Motherful, and it was just like a hug every time I came. And because all my friends were married and everything like that. And so I felt so alone and abandoned, and I didn't even know how to say it to anybody. And, cause everybody, I'm so proud in the case of, just who I am as a person. I'm like, I don't know how to ask for help, or do I want to ask for help, or,
are you worthy of help?
Incomes to one income, and I'm freaking out. And then I looked it up to see if I would be able to get state benefits like food assistance or anything like that. But I was above the threshold. So, and even then I was like, okay, now I'm really feeling alone. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And, but I believe that's where, like, our indigenous matriarchy comes into play, because then, I remember breaking down one time and I was like, you feel like you sit there and you like meditate or almost, and you're in such a vulnerable state. And then I just felt like, it's true. Like when some people say, like when you meditate or when you pray, you could feel like your ancestors, your aunts, your uncles, and everybody. It's like, you can do this. You're fine. You know what to do. You're just being emotional. And so, and I was like, I felt so empowered. And then that is around the time too, when Motherful started bringing in the people to educate the moms about, which was so beneficial, about dating, finances, life insurance, everything like that. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting here trying to manifest, this plan. And all of a sudden Motherful comes out with all these people. And I'm like, this is exactly what I need. And like, not only, just feeding my kid junk, and all of a sudden, we have the organic foods. And I started enjoying cooking again. And it wasn't out of, what's cheaper for that. It's like, what can I make with all this cool food? And it was just great. And, and it's so true. It like empowers you as a woman. And that's where I felt like that, because it was a journey. It was a journey. I was a punching bag for my son's emotions. And like that brings you down as a mother as well. During his transition of trying to figure out, living without his father and, depending on me, and dealing with his own issues and stuff. So he had a lot of issues that he had to go through, and which was very, very challenging for me emotionally. And, and it was horrible. It was a horrible time. But like I say, like you always go back to what or what you grew up with. And in the Native matriarchal societies, like the women are the ones who, keep the stories, keep everybody together. Like when you're an auntie is like a very, not only a mother, but an aunt is also and grandmothers, like all of the women are very powerful. And we come together to help each other, and we come together to, if somebody needs help, you go and help them. Like if you treat all the kids as if they were your own, And so like, I just felt like even growing up, having all of my aunts, always being in my life. And I was like, okay, not only can I pull from stuff that my mother has taught me, but also my aunts, which, I had a couple of favorite ones who like are my little things. And so I heard their voices, and it was so empowering, and it was amazing. And so I started just doing things, along with, all of the support with Motherful as well, of like, you need to fix yourself and be whole before you can even be a mother to your child. And then I was not only a mother to my child, but I was also helping my own mother, because I'm her caregiver, and she went through a lot of pain and depression when my father had passed away, because they were together since she was 18. So she, in that turn, was lost and feeling that, just kind of abandonment as well, even though we were here, but she, it was very hard to guide her through that as well.
It's the best. Was that the same, like similar time as when your ex-husband was deported?
So she was going through that for like a year before I became a single mother, but hers lasted about 2 to 3 years before she started, and she had a bunch of heart issues, and they had diagnosed her with dying from a broken heart syndrome. And so my whole family, like we started, we basically were like, okay, everybody needs to come and visit. And the doctors are like, you need to change her perspective on life and her perspective of feeling loved and feeling that. And she did get better, which was amazing. Yeah. And so that was a rough time. So around that time, it was just, I had to pull a lot from every strength that I knew to be, that solid stability for everyone. And I kept thinking like, okay, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. There's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And then, and there was, and it's great, you know. And now I'm like, and during that time, I will say, like, I'm so used to having to be the strong person in my family and my friends and stuff. And it was crazy because, like, when I would go to the Motherful things, I would just break down because that was my safe space, which was weird. And then afterwards, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? You know, because that's not like in my personality or anything. But it was just so beautiful. And I feel like that's why I really cherish Motherful, because you do offer that space, whether you know it or not. And it's not until later that it's like, yeah, these people all know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's empowering in itself to be able to feel that comfortable in a space where you just break down and you feel okay about breaking down. And so yeah, it's healing. It's a healing journey.
Yeah. And you've come a long way. I mean, you've poured into yourself a lot, especially over the past year with your health and
and it was one of those things where I did, like, I invested. I figured, you know, I invested in everything with my son and giving him his building blocks for life. And now it's like my turn. And then so I suffered from PCOS, and I went a year and a half, like, completely changing my diet, exercising every day. And it was so hard to just lose weight. And, you know, on top of that was stress, dealing with stress and all that stuff. And I went to an endocrinologist, and they had suggested, she said, there's some new research out there for this gastric sleeve or vertical sleeve surgery. And it does something with the hormones. So I was like, you know what? I'm in a budget, and I am the queen of budgeting and planners and all of that. And so I went through everything, and I was like, look, we can do this. And I started making payments, and then everybody was surprised because I chose going to Mexico to do it. And so last year in December, I had it, and now I'm like 120 pounds lighter. I have no symptoms of PCOS anymore.
No symptoms.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What?
And then the only bad part I will say is during my journey of amazingness here of losing weight, I got bit by a tick during one of my hiking trips, and ended up getting Lyme disease. But thankfully, we caught it early, and it's not a continuous thing. So I only suffered for like a month, and since then I've only had like one flare. But other than that, yeah, I got really lucky compared to a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. And you're just like radiating, and you're definitely glowing, like looking so healthy and happy.
Yeah.
So it's really inspiring. And we're going to have to get you to come and teach some budgeting skills, because it sounds like you're a pro.
That, yeah, because like, I actually, one of my aspirations, because I'm really about, I think everybody, when they turn a certain age, are like, I don't really want to work anymore. I've been working for so long. So I'm like, I need to find like a source of passive income. And so I really want, and I say it every year, every time I buy a different planner, I'm going to make my own planner because these are never fit to what I need. And so I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like figure out that and starting it up. And when we had gone to the, what was the event? This Women Who Spark Change, or
Women Sparking Change. Yeah.
Yeah. Women Sparking Change. I had met the one lady who was talking about putting that into fruition. And she actually gave me a contact where I can, when I'm ready and I start to develop things, like she was like, I know some people who can actually help with that.
Yeah.
And then she was like, what about your fry bread recipe with your, and that reminds me, I do got to give credit to one of my really best friends here. Her name's Christine. And she had helped me through the whole process of me healing and, you know, going into, so she knows all about Motherful, and she's married and all that, but we used, her husband used to laugh at us because we would be on the phone for hours, and then we started cooking together, and he was like, oh, it's your guys' therapy session. And so that's where we ended up. And then people started asking us, you know, oh, you guys should, would you be interested in catering for this, or can you cook for this? And we were like, yeah, okay, we could do that. And then we were invited to a Native American event. It's like a social event we call powwows, where they're singing, dancing, bending. It's just like it's one of those things. And they had asked us, they're like, do you guys want to come and, sell fry bread and tacos? And we're like, you know what? That would be fun. We can hang out for the whole weekend with our kids and all this stuff. And so we did that. And then that's where we came up with our name of Kitchen Therapy. And so we would just hang out and cook together and just, talk about life, men, money, whatever. And, and then, you like go home feeling so full and great with yourself. And then you got food to eat on top of it. So we went official with that last year. We actually, because we had, through word of mouth, we got people, especially during like Native American month, they're looking for caterers,
which is right now, right?
Organizations who want to say, okay, we want to celebrate Native American month with our employees, but we don't know how, but we want to give them food. So we ended up having to go completely starting a business with that in order to be one of their suppliers for that. And so, yay, that was fun. We were excited about that. So now we have a few contracts with just local businesses that want to do that. So it's been quite a journey for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a niche.
It is. And that one just kind of happened by accident, which was
fun. It matches what you're doing.
Just easy flow. Yeah. But this is Native American History Month right now, correct?
Yes.
November. Yes. And you have some things coming up where you're cooking as well, and people can find Kitchen Therapy on Facebook, correct?
Yep. You can find us on Facebook. It's Kitchen Therapy C-Bus.
Kitchen Therapy C-Bus. And so if you're in the Columbus area, or maybe even in Greater Ohio, they might be able to accommodate you.
Yeah, definitely.
With some business. That's awesome.
And we're just two mothers, hanging out, sharing our food.
Aw. Yay.
I wonder what's missing in the planner. You think about it every year. What mom tasks need to be added that you are like, I need to make my own planner?
So for me, so everyone always has their own little niche of what they do every month. And for specific to the one I want to do, like every month, you have to write down when all the bills are due. And I'm like, it takes like 5-10 minutes to do that. And I'm like, why can't we just have one little thing you flap out and you're like, okay, this is what's due this month. Now let me plan out my paychecks. And so I used to always just write it out in the little 5-star things. And that's what I was using until I started using a budget planner. And then I'm like, I need to go back to my 5-star because this is just annoying. And 2 of these, I don't even mess with 2 of these pages here. And I feel like a lot of it is decoration and whatnot. I don't have time for that. I'm not like taking pictures and putting on Instagram my planner. And so, and I was like, it's just for me. But yeah, I do that. And a lot of them have like unrealistic things that nobody really uses. And I think they just want to do it for fillers.
Yeah. So coming to a store near you.
Right. Coming to a store near you. The simple, no frills budget planner.
Yes. I love it. I love that. Can't wait to see it happen. Yes.
Right.
Maybe we can share them with the moms too. But yeah, we should definitely, you could do like a training on how to use your budget planner or your like life planner.
I would love to. Yes.
Yes. Let's, I can't wait till that happens. Yes. That's going to be beautiful. So what are your favorite hikes around here? Because
my all-time favorite like safe space is Hocking Hills, hands down.
Okay.
Because for one, my phone doesn't work there. So I can, I'm on my own spot in my own head, and just hearing the water and smelling the dirt and the moss and just like the temperature, the hot and cold when you go into the little caves and whatnot and come out. Yeah. I mean, it's just a huge like senses reset. And half the time I just like, when I get to the one waterfall part, I just want to like take my shoes off and put my feet and just ground myself for a second. And that's usually what I do. But now, like, I feel like since people started discovering it, it's like getting more crowded, and it's not quite like that place where I want it to be again. So I usually go like early in the morning, or usually times when other people aren't there. Because otherwise it feels like you're, at the zoo following a crowd. And
right.
Yeah, we were just there with the Matriarchs Council, which hopefully you'll be able to join us again. We got to work out the timing on the Matriarchs Council for the meetings and everything. We're doing a little adjustment of that for the next year. But we were just there for our retreat, and I actually haven't been there enough. Like, I can't believe it's only 45 minutes away.
Right.
And I mean, I'm a total nature girl, so I don't know what my problem is. I have not spent enough time in hiking hills, but we did a treacherous, very treacherous, I would say intermediate hike at Cantwell Cliffs. Cantwell Cliffs. Have you been there?
Yes.
Woo.
Yeah, you definitely need to prepare yourself for those, because just the stairs and everything alone, you're exhausted by the time you're done.
It was treacherous. Like, I was like, this is like, I don't want to get hurt out here, So it was really beautiful, really fun. And we also went to Ash Cave, which is so amazing. And I know
that echo.
Amazing. So amazing. So yes, I'm with you on that. We're going to be we need to do more field trips to hiking hills with moms and kids. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. Especially now, since they put up like the chains and stuff where it's a little safer, because I feel like a lot of people don't go because they think they're going to fall down or slip or something, which is like completely realistic. But I would say that's the most beautiful place here in Ohio, because I love that place.
So beautiful.
I love it. Yeah. And then locally, I live really close to High Banks. So I go to High Banks a lot. But it's not, it's okay.
I love that one.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's still kind of good.
It's good.
It's good for local in town hiking.
Right. Yeah, it's good for local stuff. And I forget the one that it's called, the one in Galloway. That one's a pretty cool one too. And sometimes you could see like they have like a buffalo farm or something.
Oh, the bison.
Yeah.
The
I've
Darby
been there
Creek.
a few times, and they had a cool workshop there that I attended with one of my friends, Rhoda, about mixing teas and making your own teas, because we're really into teas, and so that was pretty cool to go to. And I just been exploring like little things within Columbus area and trying to see what it has to offer.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I want to go back to that, the matriarchal values that we at Motherful that we're striving to embody, and that we're putting into the fabric of our work, and kind of because that is a tradition ancestrally for you. I would just love to hear a little bit more about like what matriarchy feels like to you, and what your experience of it is like, if you want to speak to any of that.
Yeah. And I think that's why I feel like so passionate about with everything with Motherful, because it's so familiar. It's that familiar feeling of having that support, because in like Native matriarchy, we support each other and we're there, and and it's almost, and it's, I don't want to say it's a trauma response, but when you hear about things similar, they say it's a trauma response, where you're always being Native and a matriarch, you're always prepared for things. And so I don't know if that's just from, having harsh winters, and that was something that was just passed down to all of us, like you need to prepare for winter. You need to stock up on rice and beans and, dry your meat to see in case like something were to happen. And it was crazy because a cousin and I, we were actually talking about this on our way back, because we drove to Florida for our vacation. So we had, 14-hour drive home. And we just got into this deep conversation about exactly that of we're like, why do we do these things? We're living in, current day age, but yet we still hold on to these. And but we're like, that's one of those things that are just passed on. And it's like part of us where like, you can prepare to do these things. You can prepare to, you're always looking forward and wanting to provide for your children and showing them so that they don't have to experience hardship. And I forget where I was even going with this, but but that was one of the things we were talking about. And just even not even in living in survival mode, but it kind of feels like you live in survival mode. But then once you achieve all of that, you slow down and you love yourself. And I feel like Motherful runs parallel with that. And I relate to it a lot. And I think that it's just a beautiful thing that it just works. It works. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked for generations to come and before us and after us. And it's one of those things where it's comforting. It's comforting to know that I'm prepared. And if I have an issue with something, I know what to do. And
yeah.
Do
you think the matriarchal values like showed up in your parents' relationship? Like, did you see that with your parents?
I did. As far as the value system goes like that, where my dad was a provider and he taught us a lot of things where my mom was born to be a mother. Like her whole aura just screams mother, like she was everybody's mom. We always used to joke around that she was an Amish lady in the past life because I actually used to complain that I just wanted sliced bread at home. Like she was one of those people that loved to
never bought sliced bread.
She made bread every day, like, and biscuits. Yeah. And she was known for all of that, like in our little community. And so like I grew up and she was part of that. And it was so funny because like pulling from, like, she's Caucasian. So pulling from my white side and my native side, they both were the same of preparedness and, oh, you don't have butter, just make butter. You just have it. And I really wasn't that interested in it back then because like, this is so much work. And like, why do you have to have such a big garden? Like we would have like this huge garden and then have to process everything and can everything. But like, now I'm so thankful for it because like, I know how to make spaghetti sauce or ketchup out of 5 billion tomatoes or apple butter or banana bread, and and so like that whole thing, like she just provided that stability in our household where my dad provided financially and giving us experiences and being able to show us our culture, arts and crafts. And so like the two value systems combined in our household. And it was so cool to see like how each of myself and my brother, I'm the only girl. And so my brother, how we all turned out. And it's so funny because like, we were just talking about like, oh, on the news, they were saying, winter's going to be hard this year. And one of my brothers had actually called me and said, hey, you should, that bay window you said is very drafty. You should go put plastic on it. And, and it was just so funny. Did you winterize your car yet? And I could just hear my dad and my brothers like just telling me all things, And so, and it's one of those things where I just remember it was like a repeat of hearing my dad and his siblings and my mom and her siblings just like reminding each other to do things and taking that care and like, oh, I have these, I have excess of whatever. Do you need some of that for your winter storage? And, it's crazy. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I really want to retire in an earth ship if it's ever possible in Ohio, because I mean, that's the type of lifestyle where I find comfort.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then like, even when, I was a difficult child to my mother, I was very outspoken, very, just bossy and horrible. Like, I was the only girl and my dad spoiled me rotten, and he would bring me flowers every Friday. And, it was just crazy. He like built this whole, like, this is how a man treats you type of personality. And so when I would get too much for my mom, my aunts and my grandma would come and take me. And we would go berry picking, and they would just tell me. And one of my aunts she never married. She was very similar in that type of mindset. And that's where I say I get my fire from, in her. And she would talk about all these men that she would, it was probably inappropriate for me to even hear at young ages, She was such a man hater.
Isn't that what aunties are for?
But she was that auntie. And so they would take me to garage sales, or we'd go with these 5-gallon buckets of like ice cream shells and pick like wild plums and choke cherries. And that was like our thing. And my dad and mom would be like, do whatever you need to do, get her out of our hair, And it's so funny how that repeats, because my brother's child, who lives in Columbus, his daughter is the same way. And my sister-in-law's coming like, come get your daughter. And the funny thing is, she looks just like me. And so my mom is like, this is weird that, I look at her and the way she snaps off at her mom, she goes, I remember that in you. And so it was like, it's so weird how that part, and, just came to it. And then I, in turn, do the same thing like my aunts did. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Let me take them for the weekend. And it's so much fun. And so I guess that's one of those things that repeat with the whole, where you see like the matriarchal part of the stuff, because in the native matriarchal mindset and values and things like that, like you take a situation and you give them something to do, and you talk to them regardless. And so there's like, usually like, I tried to break it down one day because somebody had asked me about that, how we like teach lessons to our children is, you have to teach them how to laugh at themselves, and you have to teach them that, okay, you're going to mess up, but you have to learn from that in order to grow. And so it's always like, okay, what did you do? Did you learn anything from it? And then it's usually in the Native community, they make fun of you, and it gives you that sense of humbleness and stuff like that. Like, for example, when I was 16, right before our winter break in school, 2 of my cousins picked me up, and they were like, okay, let's go riding around. We didn't have to be at school till noon. And we decided that we were going to drink beer for the first time. And so we drank like 3 beers, it was completely disgusting. And we were just like, oh my gosh. And we ended up going to school, and we were tipsy. And then my uncle had come and wanted to switch cars with my cousin, which like the evidence was still in there. So he came back, we all got tested. We got expelled from school or not expelled. We got, I forget what they call it. Suspended. Yeah. Until after the winter break. And, we had all worked at Burger King at the time. And so we're coming, with our tails between our legs and stuff. And during that time, our lesson was our grandma and our uncles actually would like, and in the Native community, they have a lot of celebrations, powwows, get together stuff. And we had a Native American Indian Center in South Dakota, and they all called us alkies, and would literally like funny humiliate us in front of people until like for like maybe 3 or 4 months probably. And they're like, here comes the alkies and blah, blah, blah. And you guys better sit outside if you want to live the hobo life, or, it was like just stuff like that. And like, it was so humiliating. And of course, and mind you, we were like all straight A students and president of student councils and things like that. And we had like a Native American club, and here we are, we're like, oh, we messed up one time. And now we're like, oh, great. But it was a teaching moment. And I never took a drink again until like I was after 21, 22. But it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, I get it, and then, so they humiliate you and then teach you a lesson and tell you this is why you shouldn't be doing things like this.
Right.
So the guidance is a little crazy, but it works. And so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's
That's
like,
the way we grew up.
it sounds like indigenous consequences,
Yeah, pretty
right?
much. And so and we're very mean jokers with each other. We love to laugh and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And there's always when you're within the Native community, if somebody's not making fun of you or, joke around, they don't like you. It's kind of it's kind of a weird thing to explain if you haven't been around it, because it's oh, that's horrible, but it's actually really fun.
Yes, absolutely. It's a,
Roasting them all the time.
Right.
Roasting.
Yeah, it is. This is roasting. And the fact that I was the only girl with a bunch of growing up with all the boys. So I was always playing football and, not being treated like a girl. So I was everyone was oh, you didn't turn into a girl till you're 16. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Martina, for sharing so much of your life and your experiences and your culture. And we have a final question that we ask everyone. And we have been asking everyone, if you could imagine what the world will be like when the mothers lead, when mothers lead, what will our world look like if you use your imagination and dream of that future time that is hopefully not too far away?
Right.
What's possible when mothers lead?
I feel when mothers lead, everything would be so organized and well thought out. And and everyone always says when mothers lead, it's emotions and all this stuff. I don't really think so. I mean, yes, we're emotional beings, but we're more about getting things done and, and just minimalizing things to the fact where it's okay, we can get all of this, and this is who's going to do this. And I feel our planning mode is just will come into action and just go for it.
Efficiency.
Yeah, total efficiency. We just don't really play games like men do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Love
boom,
it.
boom, boom. And I feel it just benefits everybody. And, if there, we wouldn't have as many problems as we do now.
Yeah. Amen. We love it. We'll be organized. Mothers lead, it will be organized.
Right? Organization. I did want to add one more thing about the whole just part of a really big part of the matriarchy and things when we're women empowering and stuff in general is in the Native culture, we spend a lot of time crafting together, making things. I can remember, I even do it to this day. You've met Rhoda, my older friend, and I just cherish. I think that's why we get along so well, because I just cherish, spending that time quilting and doing beadwork and stuff, because so much conversation comes within that is so healing, and you're also creating and expressing yourself artistically. That's a big part of it too. And it's one of those things where it just takes your mind off of what's going on in your life, or you can talk about it in a cool way while creating something. And it's either, and we believe the same thing out of cooking as well. We're okay, if you're in bad energy or bad whatever you're doing is not going to turn out. So you just need to put it away and let it go. And then other times when it's that, you create the most beautiful things. And so I wanted to add that onto there, where just being artistic with things is so beneficial to your spirit as well.
Yeah, we still need to get that beating circle going. Well, it's, bringing moms into that calm state to be able to do it after. First, they got to learn, right? They got to learn first.
Yeah.
So we should try again.
We'll have to try that again. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. My mom is a big knitter, and she taught us all how to knit. And I know she's just knits all the time. She knits all the time now. She has knitting circles everywhere that she goes to, and that's a really big part of my mom, what she gave to us too. So I imagine myself getting back into knitting at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just reflecting on
Yes.
that of like when you see like the different things that Facebook has to offer where they're like, come do this with us, come do this with us. And I find myself sometimes like, oh, I do want to do that if I'm available. And like maybe it's just getting older where you want to do things like that.
Be together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Group.
I also think we got to resurrect the Motherful choir and sing together, because that could be.
That was really great. Yes.
We got to do more of that. Okay, I'll work on that.
Heck yeah, you made all those songs.
I know. We got to do it.
And
We got to do it. Yes. All
Yeah,
right.
there's
Thank you so much,
definitely some amazing
Martina.
voices there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Martina. We love you. We will see you soon. We'll get you back. We'll get that song on here soon. So
yes,
yeah, definitely.
Love you.
I see
Love you
the mothers
too.
marching. I hear the mothers singing. I feel the mothers grieving. I see the mothers leading. I hear the mothers shouting. I see the mothers dancing.